Hello again, everyone. It's Devil McBain. I have a video today about the criminals, the cowards, and the same in our justice system. And the actual real heroes of our time, and how they're almost always utterly punished for daring to be great and fight for their own lives and for general human decency and safety. I present to you America 2025, where you're banned for saying the solution to all of these violent losers trying to own our streets and bully everyone and think to feel better about how massively uselessly stupid they all tend to be. First, we will examine a case study with a bit of overarching dismissiveness to the larger features of the system around us that tries its hardest to take away all agency from the average man who is supposed to disperse threats to culture and family and society, because we are society. Let's look at a few here and start with Bernie Getz. You see, Mr. Getz shot 4 muggers on a New York subway back in 1984. George Orwell. Oh. These muggers likely haunted this region of the subway tube, and he likely saved the system the cost of feeding and housing these 4 pathetic beasts, as well as the other passengers that would have been victimized in the future. What did the city of New York provide to this hero? Well, New York City gave him an attempted murder charge that they had to acquit him of, but still got him on firearms possession. In America, 1984, we are Americans. We have all the guns. Our kids have guns. They're born with them. Our pets have guns. Our property has guns. Even our cars have guns. It was even happening back then in the early 80s, this hero punishing bullshit. The New York City Kangaroo Court, for the sake of redundancy, you could just kind of assume New York City is the very definition of kangaroo courts in this day and age, and it's right here in America, and that's shameful. The New York City Kangaroo Court, that is and always has been a feature of every libtarded city that has ever existed, the bouncy courts. And they all template off of the bouncing idiot clowns that they call judges in this trash tier city and state. This case was a clear attack, publicly, to scrutinize and disarm dissent and masculine protection. These people want you to be their easy prey, a natural victim. They have, and always will be, an enemy to self-determination. The cure is kind of inferred in my dialogue. Let's check in on another, more recent case, shall we? George Zimmerman. In 2012, Mr. Zimmerman was forced to shoot known ignorant ghetto donkey Trayvon Martin in an altercation. The system responds with murder charges, of which he was acquitted from in 2013 on self-defense. The justice system had to lateral it to their media stooges to get their petty vengeance at him for shooting one of their cash cows, as they vilified him as a racist openly. Just a normal guy. One citizen versus the entire media, filled with useless, idiotic, commie freaks in hordes. One guy. This is what they love to do. This exemplifies system complacency in macerating honorable men who want to protect a culture worth living in, worth giving and passing to our children. Not convinced? Here's Daniel Penny. In 2023, Mr. Penny, in the interest of public health and safety, was forced to put violent, known homeless mental idiot named Jordan Neely into a controlled chokehold because he was screaming like an animal and assaulting people on the subway. Literally saying he'll kill somebody or he'll attack somebody, he'll go to jail, like he's some tough guy. The animal died later due to being a hyperbolic madman that likely swallowed his own fat idiot tongue, and they tried to charge him with manslaughter. Naturally, New York City and their kangaroo courts at it again. Mr. Penny was later acquitted in 2024, but they still tried to portray him as a vigilante. The system clearly pushing his trial so hard to punish heroism and disarm citizens because Democrats literally just prefer violent criminals just to kill us all off so they can have death all around their little cult hives in their little crappy freaking ghetto cities. And of course, next up is Kyle Rittenhouse. Mr. Rittenhouse did exactly what a man should do when he is confronted with violent armed pedophile thugs. He planted them where they belong. Deep 6 feet deep. Mr. Rittenhouse was forced to shoot 2 violent armed attackers during the 2020 Kenosha riots. They tried to prosecute him for murder, a kid. A year later, he was acquitted of self-defense in 2021. They smeared this kid. He was a kid back then. Until he shot a pedophile, and in my opinion, he became a full-on man. Because that's man business. The media, however, in a feverish effort to destroy him, tried to portray him as a white supremacist. The actual media, a bunch of adults naturally biased against him and his heroism, along with him facing the prosecution, all in efforts to try and deter us all from armed defense. Just let them kill you and your family and burn all your shit, is what the judges said to America on that day. Let's get down to the brass fucking taxes here, people. Gentlemen, they fear us. They know what the answer is to all of this bullshit. All the usury, all the pederasty, all the violence, all of it. It is violence and lethal force by good men, and it is why it is now just wrong to be a manly man and wrong to be a hero. If these disgusting, manipulative, weak mutants have anything to say about it. Because we represent potential violence, comeuppance, and we are in between culture and society and these savages, these barbarians who have a dark thirst for our children, even their meat and your freedoms. And if society gets out of men's way, we would just execute these monsters as we found them, because that is their fate and destiny, to be wiped out utterly by the master the master of the house, the arbiter of justice that is men. And that is literally the only answer to this disgusting cultural rot. Hence why even speaking of it in some places on social media is verboten. They know that we would all punch right through their dumb little web of lies and filth like a stampede of bulls through sheetrock. They wouldn't last a single week as we put all of these violent, psychotic pederasts right the fuck down and done where they are supposed to go. For the sake of a future worth living. Not convinced? Here's a graph of the usury and the money and the solution all in one. You see, the recidivism creates a money exploit that the prison system needs to stay fat and wasteful of our taxes. They exploit prisoners and money all in one. All of us. And to me, that makes them worse than the prisoners. The prisoners I don't give a fuck about, unless they are there for some bullshit only a being counter would incarcerate someone over or are innocent. But the waste of taxes and time and resources, I do care about. So let's dive into recidivism versus violent offenders just being executed by actual heroic types, shall we? Now the graph is good and well as visualization, but let's conjugate together some instances and stats of recidivism and, if they're planted. Recidivism of federal violent offenders released in 2010 reports a 71 repeat offender arrest rate. Cha-ching for the prison system. New National Recidivism reports on Council on Criminal Justice. Another same number, 71% 5-year rearrest rate at most. Post-release outcomes of lethal and non-lethal offenders is 52% violent recidivism at 3 years for even the non-lethal offenders. It's starting to look like the prison system was where they breed this freaking culture. It's like its own little Linkin Park of MK Ultra. They have the drugs there. They have all the scum there. I mean, this is an incestuous relationship that we're uncovering. And globally reported recidivism rates are anywhere between 19 to 55% reconviction. Now, I have to assume that some of these countries are reporting a little bit of boosted up stats to make themselves look good. And mind you, we are all paying for the incarcerations through tax money, mandatorily. We are literally feeding these scumbags and housing and clothing them. Doesn't that feel good? Right now you are. Now for deterrence studies regarding lethal force and capital punishment. Capital punishment ensures there's no recidivism for heinous crimes against humanity. 100%. And that's not anything but a full-on fact, baby. A dead rapist will not rape again. Nor will a dead chomo victimize a child again. Now, if violent offenders are brutalized in public, however, for being scumbags, that alone, without even police intervention, deters 22% of these freaks from trying anything stupid. Because they know they will be maimed for their dumbass attitudes. And again, that's just cold hard facts. But alas, not all violent filth are smart enough to learn from that because they are dumb enough to not keep their hands to themselves. Now let's look at active shooter stats. Recently, to give us some insight as to how to recognize a threat that could, through men's inaction due to being macerated, be far worse to just let shoot wantonly while the police take time to arrive and potentially get shot themselves while these scum go on their little scummy, bitchy little lethal rampages to take innocent lives because they think they're so special. All right, Dayton, Ohio, 2019. Police shot and killed a shooter. They were on Zane. 9 killed while they located and eventually arrived to the spot the perp was in to neutralize him. And that was just 32 seconds of live fire. But that disgusting freak will never shoot another person again, will they? And you aren't paying for his meals and room and clothing and entertainment, are you? Greenwood Park, Mall, Indiana, 2022. Armed male citizen Chad, Eli Dickin, shot and killed an unarmed shooter. 3 killed. Half the deaths because we had fucking quick draw McGraw out there wishing a fucking mutant would try to hurt his family or any countryman. And the cops didn't even get shot at. This man is a damn hero. They all are that I mentioned, save the scum that were planted where they belong. Again, deep 6 feet fucking deep. More? Sutherland, Texas. God bless Texas. 2017, a Texan. Armed civilian is just a standard and pointless mention for the sake of avoiding redundancy. He shot and injured this shooter, who later fled like a coward, all these pukes are, and died. But not before he killed 26 people. And you know what? I myself hope that disgusting freak died alone, scared, and panicking, knowing he was going to burn for all time in hell. Avada, Colorado, Lictardio State. 2021, armed bystander shot and killed a shooter. Only 1 death, and the police in this cuck state reportedly end up killing this hero because they wanted to put that guy in jail and generate some revenue. And this hero took that from them, I guess, but that's just speculating. God, everything the libtards do is retarded these days, isn't it? It's like they are completely incompetent and they've gotten to everywhere they are by lying. Weird, right? Let me end this by telling you simply this. Men are the solution to this. People who are willing to use lethal force are the solution to this. Let the police do their damn job. Get out of their way. And if they refuse to do the job justly you've hired them for, you fire them and throw them out of society as a whole. Repeat criminals are cash cows for the prison system, and this creates a conflict of interest that needs to be punished and regulated to where we are not hemorrhaging money, keeping subhuman filth alive just so these dumb whack jobs can collect money on every head in their compounds at our expense. Enough is enough. Violent criminals are cancer, as are anything and one that benefits from their existence. All that paradigm needs to come down onto the deck where it can brew the piss and shit where it belongs. And anybody attached to it, get out of our way, or you fall under the tsunami of righteous rage that will wipe every last one of these monstrously disgusting, manipulative mutants out. And may I simply posit that when one of these scumbags does these heinous crimes, that they get dehumanized and simply processed into medical testing as analogs instead of the innocent animals that we test shit on. Because they are worth little else to our species otherwise and should be cold when found. Have a glorious day.